Hello everybody. Today we're going to check our RV breaker panel wire tightness and do an inspection in there. Going down the road, these things rattle and shake around a lot, and the wires in your breaker panel that feed the electricity to all your appliances and battery chargers and such can become loose, and loose electrical wires generate heat, and that's a bad thing. So let me get the cover off this one and we'll take a look at it and see what we find. Here's my panel. This over here is the DC panel. We're not going to mess with it today. This is your AC panel, and right here you have your two 50 amp breakers coming in. This breaker here feeds all these, and this breaker here feeds all these, and that's your main incoming lines. So we'll take these screws out right here, 3 on top, 3 on bottom, and then we'll see what we find inside. Here we've got the cover removed from the breaker panel. You can see all the wires coming in. If you look, the red and black, the big red and black right here, that's your main incoming lines. And this big white one right down here is your main neutral. Now, I cannot stress enough that before you touch anything inside this panel, use a meter and make sure it's dead. We have unplugged the power outside. The generator's not running, so there's no source of electricity, so everything is safe in here. Even knowing that, I used my meter to check between the main ground and my 2 wires coming in, and my main neutral and my 2 wires coming in, to make sure there was no electricity present. If you don't know how to use a meter, ask someone who does. There's some YouTube videos on how to use a meter. If you're still scared, unsure, this is something that you need to get a qualified electrician, a RV maintenance person to check, because these wires do come loose. The screws will back out and the wire will come loose, and you'll get a bad connection, which at minimum causes electrical issues. But if you open up your panel and you see any of these white wires that are brown, the insulation burnt back from any of them, that's from heat, and that's what's generated. So let me get my tools here and we'll get started on checking all these. On the bottom of each breaker is a screw. It has a slot in it where a screwdriver will fit on it, and this is your main 2 incoming wires here. This is L1, L2 wires, and you definitely want to make sure they're tight. Stick your screwdriver in there, give it a little turn, everything good and tight. Go across each one of these and make sure they're tight. Now, when you make sure all those tight, which I've already checked all these prior to doing this. Next is in the back. You can see the bar back here. This is your ground bar. This green wire is your main ground that goes to the outside, along with your main white, black, and red. So find the screw on it. It's kind of hard to see back behind the wires. Make sure it's good and tight. Check all of your grounds. There are the bare wires in your wiring. You want to make sure they're good and tight. Now, this coach has an electrical management system. What this does is it will shed loads. If you're hooked up to lower than 50 amps, say you're at a park, it only has 30 amps, and you've got trying to run both air conditioners, what this will do is shed one of the air conditioners. It will take loads off to keep from tripping the main breaker and you losing all your power. I personally have never used it. I've always got my generator running, or I'm at a park with 50 amps. This board does a good job. It measures the current usage. So you want to make sure that all your plugs are in good, your fuse is plugged in good, and just make sure everything's good and tight on it. Like I said before, this is my DC board. You'll have one similar to it. Make sure the plugs are pushed in good, fuses are all in there good, and that's pretty much all you can do there. This is your neutral bar across the bottom. You can see all your white wires run in here. This is your main neutral right here. Make sure it's good and tight. Go across each one of these, just simply sticking your screwdriver in there and checking to make sure it's tight also. This little black device right here, in case you're wondering, that's a current transformer. It's what detects how many amps your coach is using and helps the board over here figure out what to do. Some have that, some don't. If you have a 30 amp coach, if you just use a 3-prong plug, yours will look all like this, except you'll just have one breaker up top that'll have a 30 on it, and you won't have this one. You'll have the black, the white, the green, but you won't have the red. But everything else is the same. Now, if you don't have one of these boards, the wires will just go straight out. Not a problem. You got to make sure that the screws are tight on this board, this bar, and these right here. That pretty much wraps up this video. I hope it helps somebody. Like I said before, if you're nervous about doing this, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Just call an electrician, an RV technician. They can do this job. Shouldn't take them very long. And if you have somebody like that and they do find something discolored or something, then you'll be able to get it fixed. I hope this video has helped somebody. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, and hope to see you on the road somewhere. Thanks.